Good morning, everyone. Here we are on Crane Beach at a beautiful sunset, beautiful gold color in that sky. So we're going to try to capture that. So on your paper, wet that top section down to the horizon first, and then run a strong bead of raw sienna across the horizon and work it up into that water. So it's weaker at the top, then a strong bead of quinacridone sienna on top of that, and I use Windsor yellow here and just work that right up. And on top, while this is all still wet, run a bead of cobalt blue and let it come down very nicely in a gray into that color. Little stroke of quinacridone sienna there. All right, I'm taking the same cobalt blue that I have in the sky and putting it into the water here. This is the surf coming in right the edge of it's catching some of that reflection of the sky, and then there's a wave in the middle, and then we have a lot of yellow mixed into that. So I just took some of that Windsor yellow and put it in there. Don't be afraid of it. It's going to dry much later, and we want to pick up the reflection of that beautiful sky. So put it in there, and we'll work it all out. Let the colors mix there. All right, the sand here is very violet. So normally you're going to use the same colors. I'm using cobalt blue with a touch of rose. That'll give you the violet, and then a drop of raw sienna will gray it down a little bit. You don't want it too rosy or too violet. So put it in, just get that whole thing painted. It's very dark, you know. I'm going in light, so I know I'm going to have to do another coat here. But you can see how nice and violet that is. All right, this is Quin Sienna and Ultramarine Blue. Nice strong bead right across the horizon line, pushing it up here to create that nice tree line all the way across. That's it. And then you want to take some almost straight quinacridone sienna, that nice bright reddish orange color, and just hit the tops of the trees. See, there you go. See, just let the sun hit some of those trees that are right at the peak there, nice and bright. Gives you a nice halo effect on some of those trees that are not as dense. You know, light is hitting it and lighting it up, and it gives you a beautiful effect. Right, I think my trees are too light. I pushed too much of the quinacridone sienna. So I'm going back in with almost a black. These are the same colors, quinacridone sienna and ultramarine blue, but I wanted it to be darker, so you can see it was drying much warmer than I wanted. Okay, so we got a nice tree line. All right, I'm using some of the same violet that I made for the sand right up close. You know, when the surf washes in, the sand around the top of the surf is very, very dark, so much darker. So let's go in and make it darker, but use that dark color to push the edge of the water. So we get some nice in and out movement there on that water as it's coming in. All right. All right, I can see how light my sand is. I have to bring that whole thing down, and I will. I'm just getting this a little darker. All right, this is that grass that grows. That doesn't grow, it just washes in with the surf. I'm just placing this here, and I know I'm going to go over this because I have to bring that sand much down. You can see it here. This is in the early evening, you know, it's just the sunset, so there's not a lot of light hitting this beach, so it's very much darker. You want it to be darker so the focus will be back on the sky. If it's too light, your eye is going to come down on the sand, which we really don't want. We want it to be up there. It's pushing that edge of the water. All right, bring that right down. Using a little more of that blue from the sky on the edge of that wave coming in. You have to work that water, get some movement on it, you know. Same blue, I'm just using it on the edge here. Get a little bit of that movement in and out. Now I have to go back and darken that edge where the, like we said earlier, where the surf is washing up on the sand and making it wet, and using it to push that edge of the water. Okay? I make that, get it nice and dark. All right, here we can put that grass back. This is very dark. This is like seaweed. And just very light, shape it, and just walking it. You know, it's washed up, and then the surf has grabbed some of it and brought it down and pushed it back, and you know, so it's going up and down on the slope of the surf, on the slope of the sand, as the water moves it. You know, so take your time with this. It's very important because it really shows the beach look. You know how the beach looks. This is just seaweed, you know, it's just grass. It's very, but it gives you a nice chance to lead your viewer into your painting and to break up the big shape of sand. The seaweed in the front here is going to be a little darker than the stuff in the back. Okay, so when you're doing this seaweed, the grass, you know, put the effort into it to make it look real, because it really adds a lot to your painting. It leads the viewer into your painting. And it just is real good, adds a lot to it. So I hope you enjoyed that. I really love this scene, and that beautiful color in the sky is so wonderful. So take your time with it and have fun. Okay, so here's the finished painting. I add some figures here, and you can see how dark it looks on the sand and so forth, because it's evening. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you again very soon.